Hi everybody, it's Christina from Card Making Magic. This is the card that I'm going to make today, and what I'm concentrating on here is the background. So the way to get that look is to create a stencil. So all I've used is my alphabet shapes from Spellbinders, and I'm just going to lay the alphabet down randomly on a cutting plate. And then once you cover that with card and run it through your die cutting machine, this is what you're going to be left with, and this is going to be the template that I shall use to create my card. So to create the base card, all I've done is taken an A4 sheet of card, I've cut it in half, and then I'm going to score down just a little bit from the top and fold that over. Then once I've done that, I'm going to apply glue along this edge, and then if I put the other part to it, then all I need to do is just trim that little bit off at the bottom, and that will give me a hinged base card to work with. So I'm going to be working with a teal card and some white card. And what I've done is I've matted and layered some teal and white card together. This one has been embossed, and this is just going to line the inside of my card. So if you look where the hinge is and make that the back of your card, once you've lined it, that tidies that part up. So now I can work on the front of the card. So what I've done for this is I have also cut myself a teal mat. I've made myself a white base that's just slightly smaller, and this is going to be the front of the card. But this is the piece that we're going to work on first. So now with your card, with the right side facing you, take your template that you've made, your stencil. Now this is the one I've used a couple of times, so I'm just going to lay that on my card, and then with the blending tool and the colour of ink that you wish to use, you're going to go over this to transfer all these letters onto your card. So I'm using broken china, and I have my blending tool, so I'm just going to make sure that's straight, and then holding that in place, I'm just going to go over all the letters, and I want a nice rich colour on my card, so I'm putting plenty of ink on the blending tool, and I'm just going to go over all these letters so that I now have that stencil pattern on my background, for my background. So once you've done that, then you remove the stencil. This is what you will have. Now what I've done with mine is I have run that through an embossing folder, and then I've mounted it onto some teal base card, but you can see that the pattern comes through with the stencil. Now I want to add a fancy border to the front of my card, and I also want the matching panel to go inside. So what I'm using for this is the A2 scalloped borders, and if you look, you have several cutting borders, and these are the inserts. So I'm taking 2 of the cutting borders, and I'm going to put them onto my cutting mat. So I've got my card on there ready. I'm putting one of the cutting blades facing downwards. I'm putting the insert inside it along there, and then my other cutting edge will go in there. And then once I tape those together, they are then ready to go through my die cutting machine and to create my border. And if you tape them together, you're sure that they won't move once you start to cut in that machine. Now once you've cut that border, if you want another border, then what you need to do is keep these all fastened together still, because that's the size that you want, and just replace that onto some more card and create another border. But what I want to do is make a border that doesn't have the central pattern in it, but is slightly bigger than the one that I've just cut. So what I need to do to get that is to take my blades, my dies that I've just used, and what I'm going to do is remove the center one. But once that's placed on there where it was cut, I need to line these back up so that it's just on the outside of the one that I've just cut, and I'm just going to tape that in place, and then still holding that in place, I'm going to position the other cutting area so that it's just outside the one that I've got with the filigree pattern on it, and tape that in place. So now I can remove that centre part, cut that through my die, and that will give me a shape that is scalloped but doesn't have the centre pattern in it. And now I can glue these two together and they will be ready to add to my card. So once I've got my two panels glued together, I've added some foam pads to the back, and I'm now ready to just put the front panel and the border on the card. So with foam pads, I'm just going to add this to the front of my card, and then this little border will sit along the bottom there, and I've also done the same to the inside. So what I want to do now is add some flowers to this card, and I've chosen the ones that I want to use, and I'm just going to lay them along the top of the card just to make a nice little corsage. So I'm adding in some tulips to either side. I'm going to put a large chrysanthemum in the middle. I shall put some lilies on either side of the large flower. And then on either side of that, I'm just going to put some smaller flowers along there. I have a rose for the centre, and then to hide the stems from each of the tulips, I'm going to put two smaller flowers there. But what I've also done from the alphabet is I have cut out some letters, and my letters have been glittered up, and they're going to say hello baby. So again, with some foam pads, I shall be adding these to my card to welcome a new arrival into the world. Now I'm going to add the flowers in using a glue gun, but I shall be adding the letters in with little bits of foam pad underneath some of the letters, so that some will be flat and some will be raised above. So I'm going to go away and do that now, and then I'll come back to you when I've finished. Now the pink card also has the addition of some pearls on it, and this is just part of a swirl from Want to Scrap, and all you need to do is cut down the part that you need and add it to your cards. But I'm sure you'll agree they're very pretty cards, ready to send to a new baby.